Welcome back. It's the other big story this Sunday morning. The SANDF engaging in Eskom's fight back against sabotage after being deployed by the President and the Minister of Defence. So Eskom sabotage is costing the power utility at least 4 billion rand a year. And this month led to increased load shedding. Now it's stage 6. The SANDF deployment follows the arrest of an Eskom contractor for removing a bearing oil drain plug at Camden Power Station and 2 security guards for illegally selling diesel. As you can see, Govan Whittles is in frame. He's last us there from the Grootfontein Power Station in Mpumalanga, where the army has been deployed. And Govan, at this early stage, do we know what the army exactly is doing there? I mean, how does the sabotage happen, and how can the SANDF specifically respond to this?
Good morning, Ayanda. Coming to you again live from the Grootfontein Power Station in Mpumalanga. This being one of the power stations where the army's been deployed. Yes, we are now able to confirm what exactly the SANDF is doing here. Newzroom Afrika having engaged with a number of Eskom employees, most of them general staff, who have told us and confirmed that the SANDF members are conducting searches of all the vehicles going in and out of the power station itself. We've managed to get as close as possible without compromising the rules of engagement with the media when it comes to filming a national key point, as this is one. And we've been able to establish that the SANDF members, about half a dozen of them, are conducting intensive searches of vehicles that are going through the main gate of the power station, the Grootfontein Power Station. It's a coal-fired power station. They do have a delivery entrance for the coal trucks at the back. We understand that one is also under surveillance by the SANDF. But importantly, the main gate, which is used by employees of Eskom and some of the contractors who are signing into Eskom's power station, is being monitored intensively by the SANDF. The searches are not only the usual checks of the boot, but they're very intensive, and the people who are coming in are being questioned by the SANDF. So this is what the President intended and the Defense Minister intended when they deployed people here. That's significant, Ayanda, because we know that most of the sabotage that's been reported has been allegedly conducted by the staff of Eskom in conjunction with the contractors who are said to be doing this so that they can secure repeat contracts from the power utility. Just earlier this year, it was reported that 1.3 billion rand in spares from the Tutuka power station had been stolen, and the Eskom CEO reporting that they lose at least 1.4 billion rand in from the sabotage every year. So when they say 1.3 billion rand in spares had been stolen, they're referring to the fact that at an Eskom power station, they need to keep 3 of each item in the stores. And what happens, according to biz traces, which had been mandated by Eskom to conduct this intensive investigation into the sabotage, is that the staff at Eskom, in some cases allegedly senior managers, ensure that all 3 of the spares are used up. And then when the time comes to procure emergency spares, because the power station has failed and it has gone into load shedding, they're able to essentially go around or bypass the procurement processes that would usually be put into effect, because there would be at least 3 of each part in the spares. And what had happened at Tutuka was that there was widespread theft of these spares. It's not the only form of sabotage. We've seen reports of copper bars being taken out of crucial equipment inside of Eskom. There's been valves that haven't been attached properly, which has led to load shedding. Of course, there was a case where some of the employees at Eskom attempted to displace some of the hydrogen with oxygen inside one of the generators to check it for leaks, and when the 2 chemicals mixed, it caused a massive explosion. The damage there is said to be extensive, but not all of these cases are cases of sabotage. Sometimes they put it down to human error, and in those cases Eskom initiates disciplinary proceedings which eventually lead to the suspension or dismissal of employees. But the army's here to conduct an intensive search of people that are going in and out of these power stations. They're doing it here at Grootfontein. They're doing the same thing at Tutuka, which is said to be notorious for sabotage, as well as at Camden and at Majuba. At Majuba, there's also a focus on protecting the Transnet line, which transports coal into the power station, which has also been a point of sabotage or target by those who are attempting to make sure that Eskom systems fail so that they could benefit from the contracts.
Still trying to make sense of the nature of this deployment, Govan, as we also take stock of the scale of the problem that the SANDF is meant to solve. It's not just boots on the ground in a traditional sense, isn't it? I mean, we're also told of some kind of, military engineers and intelligence personnel who are going to be part of this deployment.
What's interesting is that as the SANDF haven't elaborated on the scope of their intervention here at Eskom, how this differs to other deployments, with the exception of the South African military in Mozambique, the Samim project, is that there's really no indication of exactly what they're doing and where they're doing it. They have been questioned by those who are investigating the sabotage at Eskom whether the deployment would be better placed through engineers and intelligence inside of Eskom, watching the state of the system, making sure that when things are broken, they're able to respond with greater pace, pick it up and hold people accountable, and also to keep track of who's doing what. And possibly, we know that the South African State Security Agency is already investigating some of the senior managers at Eskom, but to assist that investigation and identify who the culprits may be. One of the problems that was raised by the independent investigations here has been that there appears not to have been disciplinary processes taken or initiated against people who were found to be complicit or have been implicated in the sabotage of key mechanisms or processes inside of these power stations, particularly at Tutuka. So for now, what we're able to confirm to the viewers is that they are conducting intensive searches of people moving in and out of the power stations, and certainly have raised the awareness and alert level of all of the employees who stay in the area surrounding the power station. So they've already achieved that, and whether or not their searches will be able to yield an outcome where they're able to stop the sabotage is just too early to say at this point. Eskom received this deployment yesterday afternoon. By all intents and purposes, it is day one and it is Sunday. So the bulk of this operation will be conducted through the week when the traffic is much more going in and out of the power station, and when the contractors are doing much more work at these power stations.
Fair enough. Govan Whittles, thanks very much indeed for letting us in on what we know so far. Certainly an important move, this, as we continue tracking our response to the energy crisis. Govan Whittles, live to us from the Groot Power Station in Mpumalanga.